In 2015, LeBron James turned down a guaranteed $15 million from McDonald's, and it wasn't because the money wasn't tempting. That offer was legitimate and on the table. He walked away because he'd already grasped something most athletes and creators never fully learn. A flat fee is almost always the weakest deal you can make. That single decision now stands as one piece of a portfolio valued at well over $1 billion. What's actually interesting here isn't whether the move was risky, it's what LeBron recognized in the deal structure that everyone else overlooked. Let's break it down. Phase 1. The labor trap. Why $581 million in salary isn't the real story. LeBron has earned more than $580 million in NBA salary alone, the highest total in league history. And yet, that number still represents less than 40% of his overall career earnings. The remaining 60% came from an entirely different game. The NBA operates under a collective bargaining agreement that hard caps player salaries, regardless of how much value a player actually generates. Whether you're the league MVP or riding the bench, you're still classified as highly compensated labor. Teams and the league itself own the franchises, the media rights, and the equity. Players simply collect paychecks. So if you're LeBron and billionaire-level wealth is the goal, the math is straightforward. Salary alone will never get you there. Most athletes respond to that ceiling the same predictable way. They chase every endorsement check they can land. Coca-Cola, Nike, whoever calls first, they show up, pose for the cameras, film a commercial, collect the payment, and move on. It's a clean structure, but it comes with its own ceiling, because the brand keeps every dollar of value you help create for them, while you walk away with a one-time payout and no stake in anything that follows. LeBron started the same way. Nike signed him to a $90 million deal over 7 years as a rookie. Upper Deck, Coca-Cola, standard image rights deals where he was essentially the product and the brands owned the entire system around him. But there's a telling detail buried in those early years. At just 18 years old, before he'd played a single NBA minute, Reebok offered him $115 million guaranteed. Nike's offer came in lower at $90 million. Most teenagers would take the extra $25 million without hesitation. LeBron didn't. He chose the smaller Nike deal because he believed Nike's long-term growth trajectory would compound into something bigger than Reebok's larger upfront payout. The goal was never the biggest paycheck, it was finding the best engine for long-term growth. Phase 2. Beats by Dre, the first real equity swap. By 2008, LeBron had become the most visible athlete on the planet, an MVP, a regular finals participant, with every camera trained on him. That's precisely when Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine approached him with a new headphone brand, a strong product, but one that hadn't yet built cultural momentum. The conventional move would have been simple. Pay LeBron a few million a year to wear the headphones, shoot some commercials, call it a standard endorsement deal. Instead, LeBron and Maverick Carter restructured the entire arrangement. Rather than taking a big check up front, they accepted a small equity stake in Beats in exchange for promotion. No large payment, just ownership, paired with a commitment to be visibly wearing those headphones everywhere it mattered. Courtside, arriving at games, interviews, All-Star Weekend. The payoff arrived in 2014 when Apple acquired Beats for $3 billion. Reports estimated LeBron's equity stake at north of $30 million. Compare that to the alternative. A traditional endorsement deal likely would have paid him somewhere between $3 and $5 million a year for a few years, maybe $20 to $25 million total before taxes, being generous. His equity stake from the Apple acquisition surpassed that easily. But more than the payday itself, it reshaped how he approached every future deal. A flat fee only lets a brand value your influence once, while they keep all the future upside. Equity means that every single time you promote something, you're increasing the value of an asset you already own. Once you've watched that math play out in real life, it becomes nearly impossible to go back to trading your influence for straight cash with no ownership attached. Which brings us to the McDonald's deal, the one most people still assume he was crazy to walk away from. If you made it this far, you're not just here as a LeBron fan, you're trying to figure out how to turn your own work into a portfolio instead of just a stack of paychecks. That's exactly the kind of thing this channel is built around. We break down creator and founder-led empires as financial systems, how these deals get structured, where the real returns actually come from, and what you can apply to your own path. If that's something you're into, think Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, Ashton Kutcher, Mr. Beast. Subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Phase 3. McDonald's versus Blaze, trading a guaranteed check for a three-way bet. Back in 2012, well before McDonald's ever came calling, LeBron wrote a $1 million check into a small, fast casual pizza startup out of Southern California called Blaze Pizza. The concept? Think Chipotle, but for pizza. Build your own pie, assembly line style, in and out in minutes. On paper, it was just an early-stage restaurant chain with no real national footprint yet. What actually matters is how LeBron structured his involvement in it. The structure gave him equity in the parent company to benefit as Blaze's overall value grew, franchise ownership to generate ongoing operating income, and a paid brand ambassador role that compensated him for promoting the business, a role that simultaneously boosted both his equity stake and his franchise earnings. When the brand expanded, equity climbed, store profits climbed, and his endorsement fee essentially became a payment for making his own assets more valuable. Now place McDonald's into that same picture. In 2015, they reportedly offered LeBron a guaranteed $15 million to become the face of the brand. Minimal risk, enormous exposure, and a substantial payday. Most people around him assumed turning it down was a mistake, since offers like that rarely come around twice. His alternative was staying committed to an equity stake in a still unproven pizza chain with only a couple dozen locations. Franchise exposure that could pay off big or amount to nothing, tied to a brand with no guaranteed success. He turned McDonald's down anyway and went all in on Blaze as his sole fast casual investment. By 2017, private equity got involved. Brentwood Associates valued Blaze at roughly $250 million, with reports placing LeBron's equity stake at around 10%, putting his paper value at approximately $25 million, not even factoring in franchise profits or ambassador fees. ESPN estimated his total earnings from Blaze at somewhere between $35 and $40 million around that time, already surpassing what McDonald's had guaranteed him. And here's the honest part of the story. Blaze never became the next Chipotle. The category got saturated, and growth eventually slowed. Forbes now estimates LeBron's stake at closer to $30 million. This wasn't some massive 100 times return. Equity doesn't automatically outperform cash in every scenario, but it opens the door to the kind of upside that a flat fee simply can't offer when a business actually succeeds. The real victory wasn't Blaze becoming a giant chain. It was that the structure of the deal forced LeBron to operate like an owner across 3 simultaneous income streams, rather than just being a paid spokesperson.
Phase 4. Liverpool to Fenway Sports Group, turning image rights into a $142 million ownership stake. Back in 2011, before the Blaze deal, Fenway Sports Group faced a challenge. They'd acquired Liverpool FC, one of English football's most historic clubs, but the brand's global appeal had grown stale, performance had stalled, and their reach trailed behind competitors. What FSG needed wasn't a new player on the pitch, it was attention from an audience that didn't even follow soccer. That's where LeBron came in. The arrangement was simple and smart. FSG gained the rights to market LeBron, and in exchange, LeBron received 2% ownership of Liverpool FC. At the time, the club was valued around $325 million, meaning his initial stake was worth about $6.5 million paid entirely in equity, not cash. LeBron didn't just cut a check, he exchanged his brand influence for direct ownership, applying the same logic behind the Beats deal, only this time the asset was a football club over a century old. Fast forward a decade, Liverpool wins the Premier League, wins the Champions League, and global sports valuations skyrocket. By 2021, the club alone was valued at $4.1 billion, making his 2% stake worth roughly $82 million on paper. From there, he upgraded his position entirely, trading his Liverpool shares for a 1% stake in Fenway Sports Group as a whole. Instead of owning a slice of one team, he now held a piece of the entire empire, the Boston Red Sox, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Liverpool, and more. By 2025, CNBC valued FSG at $14.2 billion, meaning his 1% stake translates to roughly $142 million today. Attention was the currency, and this is the clearest expression of his overall strategy, taking something most athletes simply give away for a one-time fee, then converting it into a stake in a growing institution. When that FSG deal closed, LeBron and Maverick Carter became the first black partners in the organization's history, a milestone that carries both symbolic and practical weight. It placed him inside ownership circles alongside people who actively buy and sell franchises, made it easier for FSG to invest in his media company SpringHill, and set the stage for future equity deals built on a proven track record. Blaze Pizza proved the model on a small scale. FSG proved it works at a massive one, trading promotion for equity at a $14 billion level. Phase 5. How the entire LeBron money system actually functions. Picture LeBron at the center, surrounded by 4 connected rings. The first ring is the on-court engine, 23 NBA seasons and $581.3 million in salary, the raw source of attention that fuels everything else. The second ring is the brand and endorsement layer, his lifetime Nike deal widely reported to be worth 10 figures over time, along with Pepsi, AT&T, Walmart, DraftKings, Crypto.com, and others across the years. This layer generates the cash flow that funds his confidence and buys him time to make bigger plays. The third ring is the equity and ownership layer, the roughly $30 million from Beats by Dre, the roughly $30 million stake in Blaze Pizza plus franchise income, SpringHill valued at $725 million, with his share estimated around $300 million, and the 1% FSG stake worth roughly $142 million today. The fourth ring is the media and philanthropy layer. SpringHill's content output, including The Shop and various documentaries and series, along with the I Promise School and his foundation in Akron, arguably his most meaningful accomplishment. This layer builds the credibility that keeps his brand trusted and relevant.
Being a once-in-a-generation talent gives him the leverage to command top-tier deals from Nike and other major companies. That visibility and leverage make brands and team owners willing to trade equity for his promotional power. Those equity stakes, Beats, FSG, SpringHill, Blaze, generate real wealth and valuable institutional relationships, which reinvest into his media company, which in turn tells stories that extend his relevance well beyond basketball. That relevance keeps his on-court brand strong, even as he ages, which keeps the entire cycle of endorsements and equity opportunities turning. So what can you actually take away from all this? Rule 1. Endorsement fees should be your floor, not your ceiling. Anytime your presence is clearly driving revenue for someone else, treat the flat fee as the bare minimum, and always ask what it would take to get a small piece of the upside instead. Even 1 or 2% can matter enormously down the line. Rule 2. Structure your deals so that every move pays you more than once. The Blaze deal wasn't just stock ownership. It combined equity, franchise income, and an ambassador role simultaneously. Build your own deals so a single move strengthens multiple parts of your financial position at once. Rule 3. Be willing to turn down great money if it undermines your bigger strategy. The McDonald's offer was excellent money, but accepting it would have pulled LeBron back into being paid labor for someone else's brand. Saying no kept his focus locked on assets he actually owned. Sometimes the hardest no is exactly what protects your long-term upside. Equity doesn't guarantee success, but it offers something a flat paycheck never can: a genuine shot at outsized returns if the underlying business actually performs. LeBron James will be remembered as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but the bigger story is how he used that talent to break free from the labor trap that keeps most athletes financially limited. He stopped simply selling his time and started acquiring ownership. He repeated that strategy enough times that his net worth now sits well above $1 billion, with the majority of it coming from outside his NBA paychecks, and it won't stop growing once he stops playing basketball.